I've been asked how you join the corners in a granny square, and of course there's several different ways. For this particular granny square grouping, I've joined them using working through the back loop of the front granny square and the front loop of the back granny square and just making a single crochet, and it creates a little ridge on the front side and a flat side on the back. And you try to match them as best you can, working along. And when you get to where the ridges are now going to meet, you just pick up the loop on one side of the ridge, matching it with the loop on the other side and its ridge, make a single crochet, skip the ridge, go through that loop on the other side of the ridge, and the same thing on the back side, single crochet. And now you can continue working down the row, creating that stitch. And as you bring it out, you'll see it just makes a nice little corner, and you just skip over those ridges by joining the loops on each side of the ridge. Now, a lot of the granny squares or different motifs are joined as you work. And so when you do that, this one was joined using chain 2 with a single crochet into the loop, chain 2, single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. So you've already, it was more of a lacy look because you had the row around doing probably 5 chains and then a single crochet in between the little granny square there. So it makes a much lacier look, and this is often used with various motifs. And when you get to the corner, usually you work around the first one just doing the loops themselves. Then when you start attaching it, you take your second granny square, and as you're working it around, going the 2, chain 2, single crochet in that loop, chain 2, single crochet on this side, chain 2, single crochet in that loop. When you get to the corner, you just work the 2 corners. And then when you add your third one, you're working it around with the chains and adding it into that stitch, and then you come where you're joining them. Again, you just join these 2 together. So you do the chain 2, put it in the corner loop of only this one, and work it around. And the fourth one is exactly the same. You only put it in, you never do the one that is across from it diagonally. You only work in this corner and that corner. Now what will often happen here, let me finish this one here. I've made that connection, and now I'm going around. Now you just take it and work it down the side as you would your chain 2 and coming back over here and doing your single crochet. But what will usually happen in that type of stitch, now this isn't that noticeable because it wasn't that big, but a lot of times there will be a big space in the center. And sometimes you want it that way, or sometimes you'll notice certain motifs will have another smaller motif that they will add to fill the space. But like I said, in this one, even when it's stretched out quite a bit, it isn't that noticeable, so you might not want to do anything with this one. Now there are other times that you fill that space, and in order to fill that space, this one was exactly the same design, except when I worked them around, I did the first one, then when I added the second one, I did it, connecting it with this one. Now when I added the third one, I added it actually in the diagonal. So I went to the corner of the diagonal one and did the single crochet, and did the same thing, chain 2, and did the same thing, added to that corner, and then came back and worked around, continued around the edge. And so now with the fourth one, I'm there, I've worked on this one right across from it, and now I'm over here and I'm going to do my chain 2, and I want to connect it into that space. Now there's 2 ways you can do it. You could just wrap it around that space completely, do your single crochet and move on. Sometimes though it's a little lumpy, it just looks a little awkward, and that you just have to experiment yourself. I personally for this one would go through the center of where they were joined and do my single crochet and then do my chain 2, you know, turn it and continue working as I would, coming back to this corner, doing my single crochet, chain 2, and now just keep joining down the row, adding that other motif. Chain 2, come back here, and when I pull it out, it's going to have almost like a little design itself in the center. And like I said, you're just going to have to try it. Sometimes it will work if you just wrap it over all the other 3 joins, and sometimes it will not. It will just not look as good. And so if you feel it's not looking as good, then go into the center of where the other 3 joined. And like I said, when you pull it out, it actually kind of creates its own little design in the center. If you would like to see any free patterns, just go to simplandsensational.com.